Oh la la, what's going on, friends? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. Almost, you won't be, will you? Because definitely the vast majority of you that are hanging out with me here are sufferers of Chelsea Football Club, and the hope is gone. Their hope is gone. Call me naive. I thought if we could just scam a win at home against Nottingham Forest B team, would be 1 point off sixth, and sixth is looking increasingly likely like a Champions League qualification spot. But no, we got bent over by the tricky trees, and were vigorously taken care of. It was very sad to see. An amazing goal by Joao Pedro at the end. But it was dreadful, horrendous, sickening, and abhorrent scenes at Stamford Bridge, where understandably the Chelsea fans are at the end of their tether. I must say, it's the nadir of this season. I don't freaking know anymore. I feel sorry for everyone involved. Chelsea, well, not Chelsea, not the hierarchy who's come here and created this mess, but Chelsea fans watching, listening. Some of the players, although they have chucked it in a lot. I even feel sorry for like Liam Rosenior. You know, everyone that's been toxified by this flawed project at Chelsea. It's very sad. So, you know, you have my empathy. I hate it, man. I'm not like a depressed guy, but I've been pretty darn miserable trying to pick the bones out of this. I was just bumped into a mate who supports a different club, who aren't doing great, and he's just checked out for the season, and he's like, you know, obsessed with football, and I was just thinking, like, must be nice. Just go on an island somewhere, lay in the sun, you know, just read books, just think about other stuff. But even if I didn't work covering Chelsea, I'd still probably be glued to it. I'm just so obsessed. Anyway, welcome back to Chelsea News, which is the daily series here, of course, on Football Therapy, while I reflect on what's being said. And as always, there is a lot. Today, we'll be hopping into two articles, one courtesy of The Athletic and one The Independent. The Independent, I mean, this is classic next day briefing or Chelsea being bad. Leak some information about a new manager and think about the happier times. Xavi Hernández has been linked. I've actually spoken quite critically of him here on Football Therapy before, and some of you guys corrected me in terms of his body of work at Barcelona. You know, maybe I was too quick to compare him to like a Zidane, former player of a club that they're managing, and then being a bit of a Galactico whisperer. Maybe I'm wrong. There are some people saying Xavi Hernández. There's a few bullet points from Miguel Delaney of The Independent that we'll get into there and read some stuff there. But first, we've got to dive into Liam Twomey's piece on The Athletic, which is it was published today, this morning on The Athletic, about, here, I'll show you to you now. Here are 15 reasons why Chelsea are in an unacceptable state. It was quite good of Twomey to keep it concise and consolidated down to 15 reasons. Many of you may know I'm a musician. I've got a first-class degree in music production. I feel like I could produce 4 albums of 20-track albums of the problems at Chelsea Football Club at the moment. So for him to, you know, nicely compress it into 15 reasons onto an article. So we'll start with that. I'm afraid there's no reasons for me to bring you anything too overly stimulating and positive, because we are on a run of 6 consecutive losses, only just scoring in the final minutes of stoppage time in the 6th game, which I still think probably puts us in the worst form of our 120-year history as a club. So it's not a great time. Players want to leave, fans are disillusioned, the project is not built on any kind of secure sporting or indeed financial foundation. Speculation from all quarters that, conflicting reports about the money. Is there money? Will there be money? You know, just generally unhappy people over the gaff, and I don't blame them one iota. But anyway, we're going to get into this first. Let me just pause to sip my coffee and we can dive right in. Let's get into it. Oh yeah, if you want to support me, why not like and subscribe, because it helps me out on the deep dark abyss that is the YouTube algorithm. And should you choose to subscribe, let's wind one up. Deep breath, getting old. You should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. There we go. Search Football Therapy Podcast on your podcast apps to follow in 5-star. To keep me through it, keep me going through it, because I'm struggling just like you, yeah? We all want this to work, it's not working. Twomey writes the following: not even the sickening sight of Jesse Derry being stretched off, God bless him as well, he's okay by the way, that's an important, genuine, positive update, he's okay, on his Premier League debut could dull the halftime boos at Stamford Bridge. Halftime is the best barometer for Chelsea fans' unrest these days, because typically, by the time the final whistle sounds, thousands have already left the stadium to start their somber journeys home. The season is weeks beyond the tipping point, whereby staying to the end becomes the most reliable way to escape the rush of board of a train. Yeah, also, like, Fulham Broadway can be hard work sometimes. Nottingham Forest handed Chelsea their 7th home loss of the Premier League campaign this Monday. It feels like worse. It feels like we just lose all the time. Eclipsing the 6 home league defeats of BlueCo's shambolic first season as owners in the 22-23 campaign. Ooh! They've beaten their own turgid record. My giddy aunt. She's off her nut. She's on the streets. She's addicted to fentanyl. Fentanyl? Anyway. Here is a startling comparison drawn from the height of Roman Abramovich era. Chelsea have lost 5 Premier League games at Stamford Bridge in 7 years! That one, hold on. I just got to let that. I genuinely felt like some weird gastric convulsion in my gut when I read that. I'm not even joking. So, six home games of this season already. Still got home game to go against Spurs. Oh, I don't want to think about that. And Chelsea have lost 5 games in 7 years between August 2004, May 2011. That's just... Oh. That clearly is not the Chelsea that Clearlake Capital and Todd Boehly bought for $2.3 billion in the summer of 2022. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of context here, I suppose. The tail end of the Abramovich era was a story of steady Premier League decline, masked by a remarkable Champions League triumph in 2021 under Tuchel. It is, and understandably so, this isn't a criticism, but there is a deep amount of revisionism of not just the end of the Abramovich era, but even the Tuchel times. There was a lot of decline domestically, certainly. So it's been tough. It's been tough for a while. But yeah, obviously, Clearlake, Boehly, BlueCo have come in and absolutely tanked it. They've actually turned up the speed of the decline by 1,000. So, masked by a remarkable Champions League triumph. In later years, the club was an underperforming and thoroughly unsustainable enterprise with no easy pathway to an urgently needed new stadium, tainted by a hidden historical financial scandal. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, the stuff we've been just read, the Abramovich financial irregularities. Fine. Excuse me. But there's been the mitigation afforded by the relevant context ends because BlueCo do not get to be the new owners forever. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The grace period is long gone, guys. You suck. 4 years in, more than enough time has passed, and money spent for world football's loudest project to stand or fall on its own merits, and it's falling fast. And yeah, I agree with Twomey. It is the loudest project because they're coming in trying to be disruptors, which is inherently loud in itself, innit? And they've been just embarrassing themselves, and by proxy, everybody involved, including us poor fans. Quote, I think the first 15 minutes was unacceptable, said Callum McFarlane, hashtag Shane, when Awoniyi scored a comically unchallenged header. And then Gusto just did a stupid penalty conceded. It was embarrassing. The thoughts on the game are pretty much as far as McFarlane's media remit goes, and he wasn't wrong, but his words felt a little small for the moment because there is quite a lot more that is unacceptable for a club of Chelsea's modern history, resources, and ambitions right now. Indeed, Liam, indeed. It's unacceptable. Has he not just bullet pointed these, or is he... Oh, he just does it all by starting unacceptable. Okay, it's unacceptable that McFarlane, along with fellow Kinetic Academy alumni Harry Hudson and Dan Hogan, have been put into a position of leading Chelsea's first team for 2 stints this season, so soon after being promoted with dizzying speed to key leadership roles with the club's hugely successful academy. Of course, there's a big controversy with the Kinetic links between like Joe Shields and his like a bit of a boys club, bringing out the old, like sweeping away the old guard and bringing in his mates, which has not been the most well received by many quarters of the fan base. It's unacceptable that Liam Rosenior was plucked from Strasbourg, the BlueCo sister club, where he was building his coaching career. Like I said earlier, I do genuinely feel sorry for the guy, in January, and placed in a role where he lacked the authority to even see out the campaign 100 days with an international break. Embarrassing. It can only be described as embarrassing, that. 1 second, my phone's... My apologies. I had to get my phone in the door. Everything happens like at once. They come like buses, right? Yeah, I was agreeing with what Toomey was saying here, that I too feel really bad for Liam Rosenior. Is placed in like a relatively impossible position. He did not have the authority. It's unacceptable that Enzo Maresca, as a coach who ended his first season with 2 trophies, felt his interest would be best served by leaving Chelsea at the turn of the year. It is unacceptable that time has proven him right. Look, Maresca, I sort of maintained my position on him. He had 1 win and 9. He never really endeared himself to the fans too closely. But he clearly was like a good hire. Like Matt Law of the Telegraph says, the sporting ownership still look upon themselves favourably because they had what they deem a clever hire in Maresca. Plucked him out of the Championship. He got Champions League and 2 trophies. And they'd be like, see, we picked the right guy. No one else was interviewing him. But then that guy, even though he was out of form, like he was in a bad run and probably disrespected the club a little bit in terms of how he behaved, he's still like a manager who's going to be like a desirable manager that was like, well, I ain't working in these conditions, which is very telling. Yeah, very telling. Let's keep going because we're going to have to get through this. This is the difficult. I mean, there's a lot of difficult stuff, gang. Grip your chair, let's get through it together. It is unacceptable that the joyful clarity... This one hurts my heart. The joyful clarity and physical dexterity that has been sucked out of Cole Palmer. Yeah, I mean, that is super sad. The joy and... you could say it could be injuries, but it's very sad. The Cole Palmer thing is very sad. It's tough. I mean, he was also quite poor before the end of last season under Maresca. A lot of people were criticising Maresca, saying he's broken Cole Palmer. Is that Poch's biggest legacy was Cole Palmer. It's never just as clear, but yeah, I mean the Cole Palmer thing is just so sad. Watching him yesterday, just missed that penalty and also just do so much silly stuff. He's in his own head now. Cole Palmer, yeah, he's what's happened to him is something that I didn't know could happen to him. He's got inside his own head, and now he's got the yips or whatever. I did not think that would be possible for Cole Palmer, but seemingly here we are. I don't think it's an injury thing anymore. I don't necessarily think it's a coaching thing anymore. I think it's a Cole Palmer mentality issue, and I guess Chelsea are responsible for making sure this doesn't happen to him, mentally and psychologically, but it's happened. The kid is inside his own head, and he is not playing well at all, and there needs to be a solution. Otherwise, he'll forget. We'll get to the point where Cole Palmer, his Chelsea tenure, bad Cole Palmer will outweigh good Cole Palmer in terms of his time in form will be shorter than his time out of form. And his numbers might still be generically good across his Chelsea career, but they're getting diluted and diluted. It's all very concerning. Yeah. It's unacceptable Chelsea midfield assembled for more than £250 million. That is more than £250 million Great British pounds sterling in transfer fees. Can be so bad out of possession that Chelsea are played around and through by Ryan Yates and Nicolas Dominguez. My giddy aunt, she's off the fentanyl and she's on the smack and yes, it's horrible. I should stop making giddy aunt jokes, right? It's unacceptable that despite investing so many millions in new centre-backs, Chelsea recruitment makes mistakes have left them starting a Cobham graduate they have repeatedly tried to sell and a free agent signing from Fulham, Trevor Tosin. It is unacceptable that they're still searching for solutions on both wings and in goal. I wouldn't argue both wings. I would say, Cole Palmer is... not great. But between Steval, Palmer, Neto, and Kenda in the summer, I think the right wing's not going to be a huge issue. That's just my opinion. It is unacceptable that this squad is so woefully under-equipped to handle the burden of both Premier League and Champions League football, particularly in light of the heavily curtailed pre-season. Yep, indeed, not prepared for that at all. It's unacceptable! It's like a song, isn't it? That despite almost wholesale turnover of players and staff in the past 4 years, the closest thing to a grizzled serial winner in the first team building at Cobham is player support development officer Willie Issa, formerly a rugby league star. Yeah, he was writing notes. What was he writing notes in the Forest game? What is Willie Issa taking notes about? With the greatest of respect to him, and maybe he's a really useful asset or whatever, yada, 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 and a great guy that the team loves. What was he writing down? These guys aren't good. Right. This goes on forever. All right, we're nearly there. Then we'll talk about Xavi Hernández. It's unacceptable now. It's almost become the third season out of 4 years not being in the Champions League. You can put the farm on that. That's demonstrably a huge failure. It's unacceptable because Chelsea have spent far too much on players and coaches for annual participation in the UEFA's elite club competition not to be their baseline. Yeah, we could be in squad trouble with UEFA as well. It is unacceptable because that record-breaking spending has been funded by part loans and a growing pile of debt. Debt which must one day be repaid with an eye-watering interest or at least refinanced. Bearing in mind, Abramovich sold Chelsea debt-free. He had his money owed to him from the club, but he wiped it all. In light of that financial reality, it's unacceptable that BlueCo can never... I'm glad this is being... I hope I don't swear they read this. Have never managed to secure a stable front of shirt sponsor. Yeah, embarrassing. Reasonable market rate. Embarrassing. It's also unacceptable that for 4 years of what I was describing as a, quote, firm commitment to build Chelsea a world-class stadium... There's no signs of significant progress have been made. Yep, absolutely not. The above is by no means a comprehensive list, but it provides a broad understanding why Chelsea supporters are planning further protests. Yet, the Not a Project CFC are doing one before the FA Cup final, and indeed against Spurs, I believe, which is the 22nd minute, which is the year BlueCo bought Chelsea. They'll turn their backs and chant, which is, good. At the very least, the angry noise will draw further attention to the pivotal summer that lies ahead. Chelsea need a new head coach, again, but it's increasingly clear they need a lot more. With every new defeat, that big shiny FIFA Club World Cup trophy looks less and less. They've made a mockery of it. When we won the Club World Cup, everyone was like, yeah, whatever, world champions, you had a good run. You've won the Conference League. You did have that nice win against PSG in the final. But, chill your boots. If we went on to have a great season this season, we could, flex that FIFA Club World Cup even more. But at the moment, we're like diluting its value by just looking like absolute clowns. You know, we're trying to. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Feel free to add your own criticisms down in the comment section below. I'm sure there's plenty. You know. That's good coffee. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty. Right, let's move on. Let's look to the future that doesn't exist yet. Miguel Delaney, affectionately known by his journalist colleagues as Migs, I'm reliably informed. Here it is on the independent.co.uk bulletin. Chelsea consider Barcelona legend for vacant manager's role. Is published not too long ago, actually, at time of recording. So let's see what old Migsy is saying. Right, it's Chelsea Football Club are currently undergoing a period of self-reflection. I wonder how that self-reflection is going, since we every week get turned over by every manner of level of opposition, just getting absolutely embarrassed. The self-reflection, they need to not look in the mirror and think about what they've done. These owners need to freaking go to Peru, meet several shamans, do 4 ayahuasca ceremonies, and get locked in a room with the world's most prestigious therapists for a long time. That's the kind of self-reflection they need. I mean, they need sacking. As they seek a new manager, and the aim is to have a replacement in before pre-season, following a generally disappointing season. A generally disappointing season. This is a categorically disastrous season. We're brother, we could finish 13th. No Europe, no trophies. I know we're in a final. If we win that final and finish 13th, it would still be quite disappointing. This is understatement. I mean, I'm not happy. If Arsenal, I mean, God, the sickener between all the lines is Spurs probably won't get relegated now. Arsenal probably will win the league now after that Man City result. A harrowing weekend of football for Chelsea fans. The Schadenfreude is gone. The Spurs relegation, the Arsenal bottling it. It's sickening stuff, top to bottom. This season's a freaking nightmare, man. I know he's not talking about the Schadenfreude element of it, but... So what are they going to do? These, knobbers in their high castle running Chelsea. The club is prioritising a coach who aligns with their established footballing philosophy. Oh my God. That's concerning. Because the footballing philosophy kind of stinks of arse. I kind of get it. They've built a squad, a dysfunctional squad, a massively flawed squad, but they've still built a squad in a certain image. It's not working, but I understand why they wouldn't want to rip it up and do something radically different, because that helps no one. You just want to, what you're actually doing, make it work. They are prioritising a coach who aligns with all their established footballing philosophy, which has been instilled across all age groups from the academy upwards. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. They said that at the beginning. I've got nothing against that in theory. Barcelona legend Xavi Hernández, who departed the Catalan Giants in 2024 after a 3-year tenure, that did include a league title, having previously started as a player at the new camp, is a prominent candidate under consideration due to his perceived fit with Chelsea's desired approach. Really? I don't know. Is it he won a league title with Barca? Hansi Flick's gone there, done wicked. Why does Xavi Hernández make sense to Chelsea? What, because he liked Mark Gue? And that's the kind of harrowing fever dream reason that Win Stanley would be like, "Oh, let's get him in. Mark you." It is believed that Xavi has learned from his previous role and is now seeking a new project, quote, that offers more scope than typically found in Spanish football. What does that effing mean, bro? You're going to be just a head coach here. You're going to get told what to do. Maybe he wants that. Maybe he doesn't want all the Barca politics or whatever. Excuse me. And other potential candidates for the managerial position are Xabi Alonso, Porto's Farioli, which kind of is interesting, to be fair, Fabregas, and Andoni Iraola. Okay, well, there's the article in full here. We'll just quickly go through it. It's going to be a longer video. Xavi, Chelsea target, former Barcelona boss. Xavi is new manager. There he is. Why are you looking at me like that? Oi. Top pants. Hey, you don't get that kind of fun anywhere else on YouTube or Spotify video. So like and subscribe, follow, and 5-star. So in more detail, Migzo. Xavi Hernández is under consideration by Chelsea to be the next manager as they lean towards a coaching ideology already set down by the 4 years of ownership so far. Oh my God, you're not helping. We don't like the 4 years of ownership and what they've done. We want better. The London club are undergoing is what's been described as a period of self-reflection. Yep. The debacle of Rosinio's appointment and a generally disappointing season. Yep, understatement. We've already covered that outside the FA Cup. But they naturally have had to consider what next as they want everything fully in place for pre-season. The feeling is that the club have made significant The feeling is that the club have made significant progress in instilling a footballing identity. That's down from the academy. Well, the progress that I see that's been instilled on the pitch can only be described as a performative, turgid, sewage, chaos, failure, tragic comedy dance. I'm glad you like it, Miguel. Right, and as one of the values, Enzo Maresca was his team's typical. So they want join-up thinking, which is fine in theory. Chelsea consequently want to preserve a coach of similar principles. So this is why Xavi has come into the conversation. It also includes Xabi Alonso, which you guys will know is my pick. Though Xabi Alonso will be watching game by game thinking, bloody hell. Porto's Francesco Farioli, very young, of course. Very good, but doesn't manage in a top 5 league. Cesc Fabregas, however, he's expected to stay at Como over the summer. Chelsea fans would like Cesc, but I doubt it will happen. Andoni Iraola, Carragher was knocking one out over him the other day last night. Is also greatly admired by the football hierarchy, but he is seen as a separate school to the other contenders. By the way, I do kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I just don't care what our sporting directors think because I think they're all a bunch of silly people. And I don't, but I do think Andoni Iraola, exciting high-octane football out of possession, I don't think it would necessarily translate and scale up to Chelsea. Just my opinion. Opinion that I've cultivated by listening to other experts as well. But yeah, I kind of get that. And look, as long as it's like, but Marco Silva would, I'd be very disappointed. I'm done. I don't want Silva. I don't want Glasner. I'm not high on Andoni Iraola. If you can do Xabi Alonso, Farioli, Fabregas, maybe Xavi Hernández, but it would certainly be interesting. But and it feels like a poison chalice now, Chelsea, doesn't it? Chelsea would have to weigh up whether to commit to a deviation of approach for the first time if they want to get the Basque manager, Andoni Iraola, although they do have considerable competition for his signature. Yeah, Man United really want him as well. This is going to be a longer piece of content. We're going to land this plane, gang. Hence, Xavi has become a name more prominently mentioned. He has been out of work. He's been out of work since 2024, a 3-year period that brought one league title, as I said earlier. Well, the manager in which that spell ended had brought more debate about his potential career. There's belief that Xavi himself sought to learn from the period, and part of the issues was because of his emotional attachment to his boyhood club. The Catalan now wants a project that would allow more space than Spanish football usually allows. Space, what, just to coach a team? Because we could probably offer you that. I don't know, man. Chelsea are terrible. They really are. There's been worse times in our history. You know, the older generations will speak of the relegations in the 80s, you know, Kerry Dixon team and all that. And, you know, even in the 90s, this, that, and the other. We've not always been amazing, but we got some good players. The thing in football changes so quickly. You can do a hard reset. Arteta finished 8th twice in a row, and eventually got it right. But it's all about finding out about the money and the situation and how happy players are, etc. But let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them in the comment section. Thank you for liking and subscribing on YouTube, for following and 5-starring on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm just going to search Football Therapy Podcasts on Spotify because I got 1,200 5-star reviews really quickly. I've got over 1,300. Nice! Thank you for continuing to go on and put 5-star ratings on Spotify. Genuinely grateful. And, like and hype the video down here, all that nice stuff. Alright, take care of yourselves. We'll get through it together one day. Hopefully. Possibly. Peace.